All right, welcome into 305 guys here in the Five Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. and follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick on Five Reasons Sports. I got Alex Donno. You can follow him at Alex Donno. We're sponsored here by Prize Picks. Use the code 5 FIVE. Put down your 5, get your 50. You can play right away. State of Florida, it's legal. Football season has started. There's no excuses anymore. And you can still get in on our futures plays. Now, you can't play one of them, but our guys at Big Picks Energy put together a lineup of 6 different options. I put down $55 for it for the network. Of course, 55, the number 5, whatever. And it's worth $2,200 if we hit on all 6. Now, already last night, off to a good start. Brandon Aubrey has to make 8.5 kicks of 50 yards or greater. Has already hit one. So we've got that. The Justin Fields under. We love that. Well, I can't say under. I'm sorry. Less. The Justin Fields under. Less. I just did it again. We like that one as well as Irving over or more. Did it again on rushing yards. Anyway, I'm getting out of this spot. Use the code 5 FIVE. Put down your 5. Get your 50. Learn from us. Pregame show Sunday before the Dolphin game. Tyreek Hill over half a touchdown. I think I like that one, provided that he plays.
Now,
Alex,
what do you think about real quick on Prize Picks, because I agree with you on Tyreek, the over half a touchdown. Mm-hmm. What about Tua over under 204 more or less 245.5 passing yards? That one I could go either way.
I prefer the touchdown play with him. 1.5. Yeah. I would play that one over. The yardage is hard for me to gauge. I don't know how much he's going to lean on the running game, but I do know that until proven otherwise, I don't trust the Dolphins to run the ball in short yardage. So I'm going to take Tua passing touchdowns consistently. I kind of feel like that's the way that it goes. I play that over the 1.5. The other one that I love, Malik Washington, 17.5 receiving yards. He was too featured in the preseason for them to put him away completely, especially now that Darren Waller is out. And I want to start there before we get to this sort of the meaning of this game. The Dolphins have had this habit in recent years of picking up guys with injury histories or haven't played a whole lot, and then, in my view, putting too much stock in them. And that was the case with OBJ, who they sort of expected to be their number 3 receiver. And now Waller, they don't really have a tight end receiving option. I know they picked up the guy off the practice squad or whatever that was cut by the Giants, but they don't have a proven one. It's like this patchwork thing, picking up guys with injuries or who've been out and then count. I don't have a problem with picking them up and giving them incentive-based contracts, but it's when you don't have a plan B. It looks like they ramped up Waller. They were trying not to. They ramped him up a little too quick. He looks to me like a kicker. Like he's lost so much weight. Like I don't, from the guy that we saw dominate at times when he was with the Raiders. What do you think of this? That's a little. I don't know that they're going to get much production out of him this year.
I mean, I'm really scared based on the pattern of the way the Dolphins have made these moves over the years, like you said. I mean, if you have a long-term injury, there's a good chance your phone is going to be ringing and Chris Greer is going to be on the other end of that phone. Like it's just how it's been in recent years. So, I mean, I'm with you. I'm disappointed he can't play in this game because, on the flip side, Indianapolis has a rookie tight end, but who I am extremely worried about defending. And I wished I was able to draft him in fantasy football. And so somebody was a little wiser than me and picked him up when I waited too long. And that's Tyler Warren, the rookie out of Penn State for Indianapolis. It's like, we've talked about it already this week, Ethan, how, you certainly don't have a whole lot of faith in like Daniel Jones being the reason why the Colts win this game against Miami. But, if you're looking for the help that he's going to get, some good wide receivers, yes, but Tyler Warren, it's first NFL game, so we'll see if there's any, rookie jitters or anything like that. But that dude is so dominant and so versatile and such a matchup nightmare. This could be a problem for the Dolphins defense. You're muted.
To that end, their coverage in preseason was not great. That's concerning in terms of their linebacker coverage. I feel like they're going to be a lot better going this way than going this way this year, and everything has got to be towards the quarterback. Now, Daniel Jones, not the best decision maker, can be accurate in certain situations. they are going to have to get to him because I am concerned about everything that happens beyond that, even if he's not, if he's not an elite passer or anything like that. I produced the episode of 3 yards per carry, which by the way, everybody should check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. The first time they've actually been seen in public in any way, all 3 guys on there. And their concern, CK made a good point, which is he would have rather seen Anthony Richardson just because of the erratic nature of his play, that the pass rush he thinks would have, even though Anthony Richardson is a better scrambler, that the pass rush would have had more effect on him than it might have on Daniel Jones, who's seen a little bit more over the course of his career. I tend to agree with that. I don't think, again, I don't know that they have a ton of great options. The Dolphins do in terms of the coverage of the tight end. We'll see, but that's I feel like the Dolphins' advantages are on the other side. Look, if Tyreek is healthy or Waddle is healthy, I mean, we haven't seen X play in 2 years. I know he knows Tyreek's tendencies and all that, but I don't know that matters if Tyreek can get himself up to full speed. Like, where is Xavier Howard at this course of his career? And he's their number 1 corner. So I do feel like there are things that they can exploit, but I also think there are things that the Colts can exploit. They have a really good running back. We know that. They have a Hall of Fame type offensive guard. They're going to run it behind him. The Dolphins' young defensive tackles, like Grant, they're going to have to show up early in this game. And so I do have some concerns about the Colts being able to move the ball conventionally in this game if Jones just doesn't make a ton of mistakes. And, again, pivoting back to the other side, does Tua need Waller? No. There are enough weapons there as long as Hill and Waller are okay. My concern is more as the season progresses, if he doesn't have a safety blanket. Like, they got to find one, because it can't be Hill and Waddle, because you want them running the dipsy doos down the field, okay, and all the rest of it. He's got to have somebody who's a release valve, okay? It can't just be Devon Achane, because I think he's going to miss time too. They've got to find somebody, whether it's Malik Washington, if it's not going to be the tight end, whether it's Westbrook, they picked up for the Titans. They got to have somebody that he can just get the ball out to.
Yeah, I mean, my concerns for this game, and by the way, I do think the Dolphins will win this game on the road, but my concerns are all on the defensive side of the football, and part of it is just unique personnel that the Colts have to offer. I talked about Tyler Warren, who is a matchup nightmare, and I was reading this ESPN fantasy stat that the Dolphins average 13 fantasy points given up for opposing tight end, which means tight ends put up big numbers against the Dolphins defense last year is what that means. So that's a little bit of a concern. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor, obviously, one of the best running backs out there in recent memory. That could be a concern as well. And then, for the Dolphins defense side with the secondary, a guy it's a great story, but for Storm Duck to go from undrafted to starter for an NFL team, it's, you got to see him go out there and prove it. So that's my primary concerns. But I think the Dolphins are going to be able to score. And I think the Dolphins, just personnel wise, Ethan, are, obviously Jonathan Taylor going up against him is never a walk in the park. But I do think the Dolphins are probably more equipped to stop the run this year than they were even last year. I feel good about the front seven. I feel good about the defensive line being able to create a pass rush with everyone on that D-line and your DNs who have an injury history, but being as healthy as they're possibly going to be week 1. So I expect the Dolphins to be able to score and to be able to make a couple of extra big plays, negative plays, tackles for loss, whatever on the defensive side, that they're going to be able to get this game done.
I'm with you. I do think they win the game. They better win the game.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. If they come home 0-1 and they play an improved New England team and then they lose that game and then they go to Buffalo after 4 days, this thing gets ugly quick. I'm not as concerned about Jonathan Taylor because I cannot remember, and I know the personnel has changed here a little bit, obviously, year to year, but Weaver's got more of his personnel now. I cannot remember the last running back that really tore up Miami. They haven't given up huge running games to the so-called elite backs over the past few years. They've managed to avoid that. Tight ends are more concerning. Like that stat that you gave, like I don't even need the stat, although it's a great stat. Like the eye test tells you that. Like we go into every game saying, oh, they got to cover the tight end. And that is a concern here. And I do think the middle of the field is something to watch. If you are the Colts, you're going into this week and you're saying, look, we got to get rid of the ball. Like just get it out. Okay, quick slants, flats, whatever. And then occasionally, if you can get something blocked, if you go max protect, maybe you send Pittman down the field. But I think it's going to be more, like you said, Warren, middle of the field. That's what you've got to worry about here. And as far as the Dolphins go, I do not want to hear a single excuse after this one. This is not a cold weather game, obviously. They're catching a team that is not supposed to be a playoff team this year, mostly because of the quarterback. I think if they had if you put Matthew Stafford with a personnel on this team, I think they probably would be considered a low end playoff team. But I think the fact that nobody really trusts either Richardson or Jones is the reason they're not. But these are the teams you have to beat. If they don't beat these teams, they're going to have to pull a ton of upsets, some of them on the road, some late in the season, stuff we've not seen them do before. And I keep coming back to this. If the season starts slow, McDaniel's losing it anyway. So you're talking about a whole different year, and then it becomes a chalk it up season. And we've seen a lot of those where it doesn't really mean anything and it's just transition. Alex, as we look ahead to the biggest issues, we've talked about secondary, obviously, offensive line depth. Now James Daniels may miss the game. He sprained an ankle in practice, so they may have to go to their depth on the offensive line. Coach Eric was talking about that. Do you think that Mike McDaniel, to me, this is a core question, do you think he'll stick with the running game this year?
I don't, but I hope he does. It's the only way I can answer that question, because there are times where we've seen it over the last couple of years where they snatch defeat from the jaws of victory when the running game is working. When Mostert was here and then Devon Achane are picking up yards consistently, and then let's throw on 3 straight downs. Then you get 3 straight incompletions. It's like, hey, we were running the ball so effectively. Which is odd, because before Mike McDaniel was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, he was a run game coordinator with the season. You'd think he would enjoy running the football more. And I love his play designs for running the football. So I don't know if he just doesn't want Tyreek Hill yelling at him in the locker room after a game if they don't throw the. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But I think this team would be best served by committing to the running game, because I obviously think very highly of Achane. I think extremely highly of Ollie Gordon, the rookie. So hopefully they do stick with that more.
I'm with you. I do think he will early in the season. I think there's been such an emphasis on this, and he knows his job is on the line, and he's had a whole offseason to look at it. They drafted a running back. They thought they were going to get the emergence of Jalen Wright. Obviously, that wasn't even happening prior to Wright's injury, but they did get Ollie Gordon to step up. Achane is healthy. I know they had to pick up Jeff Wilson, which, somebody who knows the system. I'm not expecting a lot of reliance on him early in the season, even though they're shorthanded. But I do think that I think Ollie Gordon has a chance to really pop. You look at rookie running backs, particularly rookie running backs who just run hard. That's the thing. Like, we see a lot of these guys, they'll burn out after the 3rd year, but you get a lot out of them early. They're not trying to dance around anybody. They're not trying. I know he did a little bit more of that last season, and that was one of the problems. But what we've seen in camp is he'll just go. That's what I think they need in this offense. Just somebody who's just going to go. Don't until this offensive line gels, and now you got Daniels out possibly the first week. Like, just a guy who's just going to hit the hole, get me 4 yards. Just get me 4 yards, get me 4 yards, get me 4 yards. Put yourself in position where Tua is on 3rd and 2, and then there's options to the play, or he can just dump it out to Waddle and get a quick 5, like something like that. Waddle, scatters out of bounds, okay, but at least you move the chains. Like, that's the kind of stuff that they need to get to, and I do think early in the season he's going to do it. To me, the real test, and then we'll get our picks here. To me, the real test is what happens when he's pressed in week 5, in week 6, in week 7, and then he goes back to his instincts, which seem to be to just throw it around the lot. That's when I think there's that may be an issue, but I don't think so early in the season. What's your pick? I know you like them in this game. By what?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Oh man, I'm gonna go pretty similar to actually what I was thinking, and I wasn't far off on the Notre Dame Miami Hurricanes score last week. I'm gonna go like 24-21 Dolphins, which would have the Dolphins covering the spread, obviously, because they're 1.5 underdogs. So I've got the Dolphins by 3. And I've got over 46.5. Or no, what did I say? 24-12. That would be under.
No, you actually have it under. You have it under.
Yeah, under. Sorry, math. Yeah, I can usually only do math in the context of gambling, and even there, I still failed. So I've got it under 46.5 at 44 total points, or 45 total points.
That over-under is difficult. I don't really know which way to play that one. But I do like the Dolphins in this game. I like them by less than a touchdown. I'll say just, to be, a little. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a lot different than what you're saying. I think sometimes it's like 24-20, something along those lines. I think this is a game where maybe the Dolphins get up early. I can see that. Tua has the thing to consider here is Tua's been great in openers. He's been great in openers consistently. Some of it has to do with where they've been played. It hasn't been cold weather sites. He tends to come out of training camp looking clean. Okay. I think that continues. The Colts have been really bad in openers over the last decade. I know personnel has changed, but sometimes that gets in your head. I'm going to take Miami to win the game. The kicker situation concerns me. The guard situation concerns me. The secondary concerns the hell out of me. But I do think they win the game because I think that, again, Tua just outplays the other guy. And I'll say that if he does not, then it's going to be really, really difficult to defend this going forward. It is because this is
real quick.
You got to get this game.
How about this for a stat? This will be Tua's first time ever facing the Indianapolis Colts. That's the only team in the AFC.
He missed the game last year. That's why.
Yeah, this is outside of the Dolphins. This is the only team in the AFC he's never played against to this point.
And that's the game also that the fullback, what's his name? I'm sorry. You know what I'm talking about. Fumbled. He's a captain, and now I'm blanking.
Oh yeah. I don't remember. I don't know. I'm blanking.
They had a fullback fumble. They had another fourth down they didn't get, and they didn't have Tua, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that that didn't work out real well in that game. All right, but we'll see how this one goes. We both like the Dolphins in this. That's not a good sign. Join us for pregame show. Also check out 3 Yards Per Carry. Our guys at Scouting the Fins, 5 Reasons Sports Twitter account. It's all there. Of course, catch Alex's work on the Canes, coming off a big win against Notre Dame, and the Bethune-Cookman band not going to be there. So right,
I hate when that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, not so really. I mean, why even play the game? Anyway, Alex, appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. See you guys.